So, I guess for this one, I'm just going to... This is the one where I don't need to do it. There's plenty of other people that can probably do better stuff. But, you know, if you want my take on it, fine. So, first up, all the Counter-Strike Go issues. So, the fact of the matter is, they had a major tournament culminate last weekend with the North American team getting to the final for the first time ever, ultimately losing to the Brazilian SK, former Lumosity, which in turn has sort of completely screwed over the E-League stuff, but, you know, that'll be a separate issue and whatever. Possibly for another time, but overall that's been a pretty decent league to be able to watch, to be quite honest. But I think that completely got overshadowed by everything that happened with the CSGO betting malarkey. You know, it started off a few weeks back with a Twitch streamer coming forward and basically being ratted out by his paymasters that he was streaming rigged skins gambling, because he was he was basically saying, oh, they were bad, and then they went and said, oh, well, here's the evidence of saying that you were complicit in it as well. And then on the call picked up the story of Team Martin and Syndicate, and the fact that they didn't disclose the fact that they owned a pretty big CSGO lotto site in the videos where they were doing stuff. You know, there's no evidence, I believe, as of yet that they were personally rigging stuff, but the whole idea is they didn't disclose that they will own it when they were doing these promotional videos. Yeah, it wasn't like you see in other promotional things, which in some respects are actually, you know, openly mentioned. And the PewDiePie FTC thing is sort of blown out of the water because PewDiePie was the only one to disclose, admittedly not in the right place of the banner, but he did disclose that it was a paid-for thing for the Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor stuff from like 3 years ago. But, you know, it's been pretty much said that Warner Brothers were in the wrong. Even at the time, Total Biscuit, when he was told about this, you know, he ran ragged on Warner Brothers for not doing what they did. And only now, I guess, you know, the FTC's gone, yes, we agree with Total Biscuit. I mean, they didn't actually do that, but whatever. But, yeah, so the CSGO stuff. So Team Martin Syndicate have sort of somewhat been covering their tracks, but then also eventually admitting, you know, they're going to try and fix things. But because of this, then more things started coming out, and more websites, you know, supposedly doing fixed stuff, which then resulted in this week, you know, after all the major stuff, then it sort of continued on. In the wrestling terms and the UFC terms, it's sort of like how everything's been happening the past couple of weeks, and then, of course, you had the whole UFC stuff, and now you've got the Brock Lesnar Fame the Drugstore stuff. It's sort of snowballing, and it's never going to stop. But this is what's happened with the Counter-Strike Go game now. Because Wednesday, Steam came out and said these websites are using, I think it's the Steam API, in order to basically get the details that they need in order to run the sites. As of Wednesday, and this is probably because of lawsuits aimed at Valve for basically parents and kids and adults losing money on something which could or could not be rigged. You know, they're pretty much stressing they're nothing to do with it. Okay, they supply the skins, but they're not the ones running the websites, and these websites are using their stuff illegally. Henceforth, any websites that keep doing this will be, shut down and banned, and anybody that is invested in these sites and whatever should try and get their money out. Because, basically, we're shutting it down. Which has led to a couple of sites freezing people from accessing their accounts, basically to withdraw the money that's on them. And withdraw the content that's on them. So it's, getting even more shady. And, quite a few sites have also said that, they are shutting down for good. They will let, some sites are saying they will let people, some have just, gone whoosh and took the money and run, shall we say. Which is less than legal, but whatever. It's a shame. It shouldn't be dragging the game of Counter-Strike down, but I just think, because it's getting mainstream media attention, ESPN and their esports section, which normally is sort of fluff pieces, is doing some very interesting reports on this at the minute. I guess because it's mainstream, because it actually uses money and it involves gambling. So, because I think ESPN used to or still shows poker at various times. But either way, it's not looking good. Some people were just starting to get into the Twitch gambling stuff, and within days or weeks are now finding out what they were trying to do is gone. And then you've got further allegations that are now cropping up that highly popular YouTubers and Twitch streamers other than Team Martin and Syndicate have stakes in esports. Have stakes in gambling sites. And that's actually people within esports as well. Because on the flip side of it, turns out Team Martin is a co-owner of Envious, who won the, I think the DreamHack Cluj major from late last year. And then in turn, I've heard reports of one of the CSGO sites being owned by people from the Call of Duty wing of the FaZe team. So Call of Duty players within FaZe. Quite a few other prolific Twitch streamers and popular YouTubers within the Counter-Strike scene, and popular with sort of gambling videos or streams, also having a hand in their own sites as well. So, and in turn, Twitch, because they said Steam has banned it, we're banning it as well. So the platform that they could have gone on to broadcast all the stuff is gone. So they'd have to go. I don't look at other sites like Hitbox and other sites like that and whether they still allow it. But Twitch I can get as an app on my Amazon stuff, my Chromecast, my tablets, and whatever. There isn't an app on everything for the Hitbox stuff, and if it is, sometimes it's very temperamental. I remember I tried watching one of the tournaments on it once last year, and it was really bad. But I mean, it's a mess that was, as soon as the one domino fell from that very first incident, everything it started picking up and picking up. And now it's just become an avalanche. Everything is being destroyed. get out while you can. You know, eventually the snow will settle. And hopefully the community will not be affected by this too greatly. Because the Counter-Strike games that I have seen, I have enjoyed. But then when you take into account, are any of these players and or teams having stakes in these CSGO betting sites, then you even more go, what's going on? So yeah, there's plenty of other people that you can follow for all of that stuff. You know, that actually want to delve into the murkiness, because, you know, I'm going to get enough hateful... Well, that's if people see this. I'll probably get hateful... If enough people see it and pay interest, they'll probably put hateful comments in the comment section, which is either below, or if you're watching on an app, it might be to the side, or whatever. So on a more positive note, even though there is some negatives in it as well, we go from one Go to another, hence the title, basically. Pokemon Go launched officially in America early last week, and then launched in the UK a few days ago, and it seems to be taking the world by storm. To an extent I don't think anybody expected, in a case that, like with the CSGO stuff, it's getting mainstream media attention. You know, so much so that there's about 1,200 people on one of the piers in San Francisco, all looking for Pokemon. I'm seeing videos of some of my favourite YouTubers, like, doing walks, you know, doing basically Let's Plays with this. I'm seeing Twitch streams of Let's Plays of this, which are doing massively well. But when these people are playing, sometimes they're walking past other players and they actually communicate, like, you know, oh, you know, that Pikachu was up there, you know, pretty good level. So, you know, it's actually, you know, okay, you're getting the scare stories of people's phones being stolen at knife point and whatever, but not only in America, as you heard earlier in the week, but turns out they're doing it here as well. You know, one guy, sort of stupidly, I would argue, giving up his job just to do Pokemon Go. Yeah, because there's a lot of money in that, isn't there? Really? Yeah, I don't think so. And, you know, you hear the negative stories, but then the positive stuff is people are actively getting out more, walking around, looking for these Pokemon in the game. And also, you know, people are actually being friendly to each other, communicative, you know, talking about their experiences and whatever if they, you know, meet up because they're just looking at their phone sort of thing. And the thing is, I'm a fan of, like, the original Pokemon, but this one I'm just a bit skeptical of at the minute. One, because I live in an area where I'd probably have to walk a fair way in order to actually get decent stuff, because, you know, I live in a rather rural area rather than an urban area. I know there's places around me which have the Pokestops which you can get the Pokeballs and, like, gyms and whatever, but still, I don't want to try it until it's sort of, its popularity is less, because I am intrigued by what happens with it. But also, I want the hype to die down, but then also for the game to be stable, because I know that for some reason, they didn't think there would be as much demand as there is for it. despite the fact that they're targeting this at the generation that would have grown up with Pokemon 20 years ago. You know, I was 7 or 8, and everything that you saw everywhere was Pokemon. You know, you had the movies, you had the TV shows, I mean, you had the games, you had all the, like, plushies and all the accessories, the trading cards themselves, all that stuff. And apparently they didn't think, you know, because some of the server issue problems were pretty bad. From what I've seen from the news reports and from people playing it. But overall, it's sort of pleasing me. And it's interesting to see that up to this point, augmented reality games really didn't work. You know, even sort of like the Google Cardboard AR stuff, or the Google Glasses that was augmented reality, people were like going, yeah, I'm not really I don't think this is going to be popular. You just change it to a Pokemon game on a phone or a tablet, and all of a sudden, this is the best thing ever. So, it's interesting what has happened, and how things have evolved. Is that a callback to last week? I don't know. But it's good to see. And also, it's refreshing to see Nintendo doing something successful. Because of the success of Pokemon Go, like, the stocks went up close to 30% over the last week. So, all the money and whatever that they lost beforehand has sort of been reset now by the overperformance, arguably, of Pokemon Go. And, you know, on top of that, they then announced this mini NES with 30 classic games and an HDMI, HD port for only $60, or I think £40 or £50, I'm not sure where. I'm intrigued to buy that, because that's probably the easiest way for me to get my hands on a lot of those retro games. Because it's hard to find a Nintendo, an NES, that cheap, arguably. Especially with those games. Admittedly, they're not rare ones. They are the popular ones and the really good ones. But man, yeah, it's weird. You see one company that was doing brilliantly well, suffering quite a bit of issues with this whole CSGO scandal, and then in Valve, obviously, and then Nintendo, who, really have not been doing very well for the past few months, with the where's the NX, everything being delayed, no first-party games of any significance coming to the Wii U until the NX comes out. It's not looking pretty. And then Pokemon Go seems to turn their fortunes around completely. And the thing is, they haven't even put microtransactions in that yet. I don't want them to, but they're going to, because that's going to make them even more money, Nintendo. And Niantic, the developers. Who I've heard have moved into like a cursed building, because it was the building Sega were in when they shut down after the Dreamcast. And like the building Rovio was in. Oh no, not Rovio, Zynga was in. Before they had their downfall, and Zynga with Farmville and all that, and basically were losing so much money that they had to basically get rid of the office. So hopefully Niantic turns around the curse. If not, well, Pokemon Go was a great thing in 2016. By 2018, yeah, the company doesn't exist. Which, it's weird because Niantic have done other AR games and they've never done this well. I guess that's how strong the Pokemon brand is. That's how much Professor Oak is in everybody's souls. Wonderful! I mean, it's... For once, I'm actually... Although the CSGO stuff is negative, the positive thing is they're trying to sort it. With this issue, you know, with Pokemon Go, it's more positive. I mean, there's negatives, but it's more positives than negatives. Evolve, in a follow-up to last week's stuff, that's getting over 1 million players now on PC, and that's seeing an upturn, and people are liking it. And they've changed some stuff for the founders, so they're actually getting more benefits as actually being people that bought the game. Wow. It's all positive. Not that I want a negative story to report on. That's... Okay, I should have thought that last statement out properly.